So we're going to talk about molecular hydrogen, and I confess until Ian talked about it, I had absolutely no idea what it meant. So let's share that. So Ian, what is this molecular hydrogen?
You're not alone, Peter. It's two conjoined atoms of hydrogen, and it's actually the way that hydrogen gets around. Hydrogen on its own can't do what two atoms of hydrogen can do as H2.
Right.
As you know, you've got H2O.
Yeah.
Right? That's how it sits. It's stable as H2O. And in this case, we can actually have H2O with extra H2 in the water.
Okay, so you can amp up the level of hydrogen in water.
You can.
And so that makes a difference, okay, but doesn't that become dangerous because it's a fairly volatile kind of product?
It's a very volatile kind of product. We've done a few experiments here, and we've intentionally, used the volatility of it, but not in this sense, because we're talking about 3 parts per million.
It's a tiny percentage
in a litre of water.
that makes a difference then.
This is the amazing thing about it. Nobody knows why it works like that, but it's we've arrived from experience, with help from the guys at the Molecular Hydrogen Institute, to a general figure of 3 parts per million being the level where therapeutic effects start happening.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So on that basis, I would need to ask it, we're now talking about being well into the 2000s, it's a long way back, and I haven't heard of it before, and I've heard of many things. So why has this not been general knowledge?
You've been spending too long on Facebook, Peter.
Yeah, that's possible too. There's not much general knowledge on there.
We're loaded up with data, that's why. No, look, the first study that appeared in the West was in 2007, and it was a Japanese study, and it was basically ignored. There is unfortunately a bias in the West to Eastern scientific studies, but it was a very good study. The other reason, I believe, is that there's no money in hydrogen.
Right.
So there's no big companies.
So it's easily attainable.
Yeah, and you'll see later on how easy it is. Today, there's a lot of money going into hydrogen, not for this, but in the production of hydrogen as a fuel source, as an alternative to water or gas. So yes, there's big corporations there.
Fuel cells and so on.
Yeah, but Big Pharma couldn't see how to make any money out of it.
Right, so
it's doing these
therefore,
things.
Yeah.
So that was the major problem there. I'd like to point out, because I'm so grateful for this guy, a young scientist called Tyler LeBaron from Utah. And around about 7 or 8 years ago, he's kind of appeared on Facebook, and he was talking about electronic water ionizers, which he'd bought one, and what he learned about electronic water ionizers. These are the expensive ones, the $6,000 ones, from the multi-level people, because he bought it like everybody else. They gave him a big story about how much money he's going to make and all that sort of stuff.
All of those things, yes.
But he's a very inquiring. He's a tremendous mind. So very inquiring. He started to say, well, this is what they say it does. They say it microclusters the water, and it's alkaline and all of these things, and high pH. But why does it work? So and he got to work. He got on the net. The things the salesman told him didn't make sense. He found that Nagoya University in Japan already had a whole faculty dedicated to the study of molecular hydrogen as a therapeutic modality, and had been doing it for 10 years. And he managed to talk to the people from Nagoya. I don't know how he did it. Next thing, he's invited over to Nagoya. He's the first Westerner that's had any interest in the technology, and he's in Japan studying with them. He met some amazing guys who had been working on techniques for making it available for years, and they were just going, oh, someone listens.
Right.
So
that's how he made it. That's how he got there.
Yeah. So we were having talks on Skype. We talked for an hour or so and ramble on about what this means and how incredible this is. One day I said to him, Tyler, what you need is an institute. Everybody's got an institute. So let's make it the Molecular Hydrogen Institute. And he did.
Right.
And today he's got an international board of advisors from Japan, Korea, China, America, people who have all gotten involved. He's got a wonderful website where all of the 1,400 plus studies are,
Right.
grouped by type of ailment. So,
So he's
can
thorough.
Not only that, he's actually doing research himself. He's a gymnast, and he's done amazing research on the effects on athletic performance, as well as other things. So today we are very grateful to him because he single-handedly really brought it to the West.
But that kind of brings me to a question, though. But you're not finished the story.
No, go.
Yeah. Have technologies been developed that allow us to actually put this to use? It's great to have studies. It's great to have ways of seeing that this is useful, but delivery is then important.
That's right.
Have methods of delivery been determined?
Well, the old electronic, I'll call them electrolysis water ionizers, did deliver some. But the funny thing is, in the early days of the water ionizers, they saw the hydrogen, they saw it as a problem, they tried to get rid of it because they wanted alkaline water.
Yeah.
Okay, but eventually it got through, but they're not really very efficient. And one of the problems is that the plates, you've got a series of plates inside an electrolyzer. As soon as they accrete debris from the water, which they do because they're attracting
There's
it.
always plenty of it there.
Yeah, and they're magnetically attracting it. The H2 drops off.
Right.
So if you've got an ionizer like that, you have to do this 20-minute
Regular
flush
cleanse.
every 2 weeks maximum. And they even send them into the factories to clean them. So the technology was not good. Lots of good things have happened since then. It's happened really fast, and there's lots and lots of ways to do it.
So I saw things like, at one point I saw someone promoting a hydrogen inhaler.
Yes, that's right. Yes, hydrogen inhalers. There are tablets. You can just drop a tablet into a glass of water, and it gives you enough more, around about 4 or 5 times the hydrogen that you $6,000 or $7,000 electric water ionizers do for $1. Right?
Yes.
That really blew the system apart.
Yeah.
There are the inhalers. The inhalers are also very efficient, and a little bit less friendly than water because you sit down and you put on your mask.
Yeah, it's a bit of a process.
Something like that. Yes. My sister, who had lung cancer, I gave her one about 2 or 3 years ago, and she's still here.
I'm very happy with
she's 82. She's
Right.
very, you can't say that it did it.
Yeah.
Right. So there's natural water filters which we developed, which produce around about 3 or 4 times we got it tested. Tyler LeBaron actually tested it for us. It's about 4 times his $6,000 water ionizer produces the hydrogen and filters it as well, and uses natural minerals to have that. There are hydrogen baths. You can jump in a bath and have the hydrogen bubbling through.
Good.
Yes, just don't smoke while you do it. And there's even hydrogen skin sprays. We've got a lovely little thing. You just press a button and it puts this nano spray in. And I remember getting a barb from a palm in my eye, and it was really painful. I used this and wonderful, but the ladies love it because it's a natural cleanser and it makes them feel great. So yeah, all of that's happened in that last 6 or 7 years.
And so is there now evidence from people that that tells a good story about their interaction with hydrogen, or is it so early that we don't have that yet?
No, there's evidence. There are studies now coming through which are proper peer-reviewed studies, not just in vitro or mouse studies.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw one last week which showed the effect of hydrogen. Those heat sensing photographs.
Yes.
Where you see a hand, and there's the hand without H2, and here's the hand with H2, and unbelievable difference.
Right.
It's incredible, and that's a funny thing because at home, Cassie has a problem with me in bed.
This is going to a whole other place now.
Because I run so hot now.
Right.
Now, 10 years ago, I was running cold, but I run hot, and I need. Last night was a cold night here. I only had 1 blanket on. She needed 2 or 3.
Right.
So, at age 74 going on 75, I'm actually quite impressed with that.
You got life force energy coursing through you.
I like to call it that, Peter, because I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
I really do. This is, we're drinking primal water, we're using the tablets, we're getting hydrogen. you can't overdose with hydrogen because it just goes in, it goes out.
Yeah.
You know, I
If
mentioned
there's too much, it just dissipates.
Yes, I mentioned to you earlier, a hydrogen atom is like a bumblebee in the Grand Canyon. Right? It's just bumbling along, and there's massive space, which is the space between our molecules in our body, and it finds a free radical that needs neutralising. It says, "Hello, darling." And
Come with me.
yeah, it does a big embrace, and they turn into pure water. I mean, how clean is that?
Yeah.
What a beautiful way.
So on that basis, though, that means that there's difference for different people. How do we go about determining the best way to proceed, you know, for me or for someone that I wanted to recommend it to?
Yes, look, frankly, talk to us. It's a constant battle to keep up enough information on the website in a form that people can imbibe and absorb, because none of us have very good attention spans these days. And that's why I'm doing this video, because we do know, and we do treat everyone who calls or emails as an individual case. We ask them, what do you want it for? What do you want to get from it?
Yeah.
And we have so many alternatives that we can formulate a way that they'll get the most response.
So you seek an individual solution for each person.
I mean,
and
as
their
their
situation.
budget, they might be having serious medical problems. They might just want better health and immunity. They might be athletes who are going the extra mile. Keegan Smith, the coach, football coach, amazing guy, an amazing athlete, very smart. He just loves the stuff. He just loves it. You know, so yeah, we get lots of stories. We get lots of stories. Young guy, Jamie, he was the CrossFit champion. He swears by it. Lots of people like that. Yeah. So yeah, we're getting the stories. They're anecdotal stories, yes, but they're now being backed up by the scientific stories, or they're correlating with the scientific stories.
Yeah, well, the anecdotal is where it begins, really, isn't it? It's when people have evidence within themselves.
Yeah.
That's when scientific study begins, really.
Yeah. So
the idea then is for people to make some contact with you. That could be an email, that could be a telephone call, and they will get treated as a special customer. Doesn't matter who they are.
Special customers. One thing I should mention, that you've heard the $6,000, and yes, that is what an electrolysis unit costs, and it is important to note that electrolysis units, it's like buying a
Model T Ford.
It is, it's old technology, and it was developed for different purposes, not designed to produce hydrogen. So the wonderful thing that's happened is that the prices have come right down. The options are there, and if you want to start and see how it works, get a bottle of tablets, and it costs you $1 or something to have a tablet or a couple of tablets, and you will see what happens. And they'll go for a month and a half. Watch what happens, and then go. Come
okay, how am I going to invest in this for the long term?
Yeah. Most people that do the tablets keep doing the tablets. And as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing else that you really need to know about what's the best way to do things. If it works and people keep using it, you say, yeah.
Ian Blair Hamilton from AlkaWay, thank you for your time today.
Thank you, Peter.
Great.
Good to see you again.
You too.
We got through that, didn't
we did.